welcome back to the developing city of Leonor. Lately I have been inconvenienced by these annoying pop-ups of people complaining about the lack of ambulances. They just keep popping up and I don't know why people are getting sick. In my view, you can just go to the gym, have a workout and you'll never get sick. But regardless, I think it's time for us to take a look at our healthcare system and perhaps build the city's first hospital. We are also making a lot of money, about 3.8 million per month, so it's a good opportunity for us to invest in a good old-fashioned socialist-free healthcare system. And I've already chosen a location for this hospital. I think I'm gonna place it right here on this hill. I think it will be a very central and accessible location that will cover not only this developed area that's already over here, but also the developments that will be made in the future alongside this region. Now, of course, I need to unlock these by going into this tab, because I still haven't done that. And now we can take a look at the available hospitals that we have to work with. So these are all the hospitals that the game currently has between the base game and also the content region packs. They are all fully upgraded for the time being, and this will allow us to take a look at the capabilities and unique features of each one. So this one is the UK hospital, and initially I thought it would be a very good fit because the color of the walls fits very much with the color of the buildings that we have been using. But it has an old town look with this triangular roof, so I don't think it will be a very good fit for this city. The French one is completely out of the question because it really does not fit. It has this light and whitish color. The Japanese is a very cute asset. I think it would fit with the current theme of the city, but for this hospital to place on this hill, I'm looking for something more imposing, and this is actually quite small. The Eastern European pack provides two different hospitals, a rectangular one and also a squarish one, which can be upgraded. The squarish one, when fully upgraded, is the hospital in the game that currently has the highest capacity for patients, a total of 800, and provides 246 jobs. The rectangular one, on the other hand, only allows for 700 patients and has a capacity for half the jobs. And then, of course, we also have the standard hospital that comes with the base game. So, which one am I gonna choose? Decisions. After much deliberation, I ended up deciding on this Eastern European hospital. Besides the regular hospital that comes with the base game, this one is the only one which has a helipad. And I have decided that helicopters are cool, so I want to have one in my city. I also thought the basic hospital does not fit this region quite well because it's way too white and it would contrast a lot with the buildings that we currently have and this old city vibe that we're creating. This Eastern European hospital, on the other hand, has this dark color and it also has this squarish and blocky appearance, which fits very well with the buildings that we have been placing in our districts, namely these North European row housing and also mixed zoning. I've just spent a lot of money placing all of these hospitals, so I'm gonna boot an old save of this city and I'm gonna start working on the infrastructure of this new hospital. Ah, yes, the sides of effective healthcare. Something a lot of you will not understand, unfortunately. So I've just finished up the basic infrastructure of this new region, with a hospital at its focal point. I've also provided a couple of parking lots. I'm not really sure they're going to be necessary for the hospital itself, but I believe that's something you would see in real life to support something of this magnitude. As for the road system, I have extended this collector past this point. This will provide access to this entire new region, and it will eventually extend towards this side. I'm still not sure what I'm gonna build here. As I've mentioned, this rail yard infrastructure is temporary, so I might extend this towards a new industrial layout or something like that. Besides this new collector, I've also added an additional collector that goes through here and goes beneath the highway and eventually connects over here. And I gotta say, this infrastructure that I've built, I'm actually quite proud of it. I think it looks really amazing and supernatural looking and organic. It kinda adds this tiered effect to the city with multiple height levels, which I really like and I really do enjoy. I particularly like to see the city from this angle. Of course, we have something ruining the landscape, which is this annoying maintenance road, which is causing traffic and congestion, but that's something we have to live with, because people are not smart enough to overtake, I suppose. In this road, I've also put some trees in the middle. Usually I also like to combine this with grass, just like I've done here. I wanted this road to be a little bit more discreet, and I think the effect is super quite nice. So you just have to imagine that there's some dirt pots right around the trees and they're not planted directly on top of the concrete. You'll just have to use your imagination for that. Over here I have built this custom intersection, which I think will work quite nice. Each lane has its own destination, so it shouldn't cause a lot of traffic, especially because the only merging point happens at around here. And this road, the smaller one, has the triangular sign, which gives this main road or this main collector priority, which is what we want. But once we develop this area, we should take a look and monitor this to make sure that it's not very chaotic when it comes to traffic. This is actually very similar to what I've built on other part of the city, namely over here, even though this one is a bit more complex because it has more lanes and it also handles much more traffic. But it works super fine, so I'm expecting the new one to work just as well. And of course I've also removed the traffic signs and also the crosswalks to make it flow smoother. The hospital itself has two access points, one to this collector and another one to this collector here. I'm not really concerned with people undertaking and taking this shortcut because I don't expect a lot of traffic coming from here who wants to use this collector. Usually people using this road will be people living somewhere around here who will want to go to somewhere around this location. So I'm comfortable with this. I've also built this couple of perpendicular roads that you can see because I am going to use this as a foundation to a new neighborhood for the city. That's right, this layout is not going to be reserved for just the hospital, it's also going to share the land with some new housing and perhaps some commercial buildings alongside the collector as well for convenience. So I believe that's something we can start working on. I'm gonna start with a basic road layout and also start zoning some buildings, and I will meet you guys shortly. I finished up the road layout as well as the basic zoning for this new district. It's a small district because of course we didn't have a lot of room to work with, but it's characterized by this long road that curves alongside this main avenue and ends out around over here, which I think turned out really well. It also provides ample parking space with this road with parking spots on the sides, and this provides ample parking space to all of these people living here on this main road. But of course, regardless, I've also found the need to add some additional parking lots, such as this one over here and also this one over here as well. The district itself has quite a weird shape. Initially I thought about reserving only this area north of the collector to the districts and to the housing, but I've decided to extend the housing towards this side as well and zone some houses right next to the hospital to maximize the zoning space. And now the housing neighborhood kinda has this pistol shape, which is quite ironic to be placed right next to a hospital, but it is what it is. As for amenities and services, as I've mentioned, I have placed some offices and also low density commercial on this collector. I've also added a small park, but I still want to work on this. I want to add more leisure to this new neighborhood. And besides that, and also the parking lots that I have already mentioned, I have also added this telecom tower, which is not a telecom tower, it's actually a radio mast, to provide internet access to this area, because I found out that this density was way too much and the current telecom services did not cover this area sufficiently. So if I go into the telecom view, we can see that these buildings are yellow. They are not totally green like the ones that we have over here and also here, so there's still room to improve the internet speed and connection of this area. So eventually I will need to add even more radio masts, because who the hell wants to live in a city without proper internet connection nowadays, right? Not in this city. Now for accesses, I have also added these pathways, which I'm really proud of. This is a proper pathway connecting system. We have several pathways connecting different parts of the city. First things first, we have this one connecting the hospital to this side of the map, and also it goes under a tunnel, you know, beneath this avenue, and eventually connecting to the other pathway that we already had over here with this tunnel. And as you can see, we have a lot of people using it already, which is great. I've taken advantage of the elevation of this hill to kind of create this horizontal pathway, or this horizontal bridge that directly connects to the ground level over here. And I think it ended up really nice. Then of course we also had other connecting points like this curvy here, and then we have a secondary bridge that connects to this side over here as well. So this is a second connection to this area. If you remember, we used to have a pedestrian pathway here, or a crosswalk directly on the roundabout, and I decided to get rid of it because this road is the main connecting point to the city. It directly connects with the highway here, and realistically it would involve a lot of traffic. You know, the traffic volume over here would be quite significant. So I ended up removing the crosswalk and replacing it with this bridge instead, which I think works better from a walkability standpoint. Besides this, we also have other connections, namely this one here, that connects the hospital directly to the housing, to this residential neighborhood. I have this zigzaggy pattern just to go up the hill, and this is quite nosy because we have a helicopter landing. I'll just mute it in the video, I suppose. But yeah, as I was saying, we have this zigzaggy pattern that goes up the hill and then eventually connects with the neighborhood with a straight road, or with a straight pathway. And then finally we have a third connection on this area that connects this part of the neighborhood to the other side of the railroad. At the moment it's not doing much because we don't have anything developed here, but in the future it will be quite significant. And you can already see that even though there's no buildings here, there's a lot of people using this bridge already. But now that the basic infrastructure is done, we need to think about beautification, because without trees this neighborhood looks pretty much like garbage. just blocks of concrete. So that's something that I'm gonna work on right now. It is incredible, is it not? The difference that a couple of trees can make. It looks like a completely different area. It went from looking like a complete war zone to a neighborhood that's actually properly taken care of. When placed alongside these pathways, the trees kinda these trees kinda make up this very cool natural park effect, which I really do quite enjoy. Look at this, how pretty is this? Besides this, I've also added some other parks, so I have moved this small park and placed it in front of the hospital, and I've placed this couple of tennis courts and also a basketball court over here, and also this large playground. And this should provide enough leisure to this entire region. In front of the hospital, I also had this empty row that didn't have anything in it, so I have decorated it with some palm trees and also some flower bushes on the side as well, which I think looks quite alright. I've tried to add a significant amount of trees between the railroad and also the houses here to dissipate the noise pollution. As someone who has lived the first 20 years of his life right next to a railroad, I can assure you this is not that problematic. Yes, there is a lot of noise, but you end up getting used to it. It gets to a point where you don't even realize or notice the trains coming by. Now, eventually in the future, I will extend this neighborhood. I have this road dead ending at about over here, and how I progress this is gonna depend on what I end up building here. So that's something that I still haven't decided. But I have all of these roads converging into the same direction, so I will have to build something here eventually. There's also some services that I need to take care of, namely mail. I haven't put any mailboxes on the streets, and also of course provide bus access. I'm not gonna do that right now, but eventually in the future I think what makes sense is to make a longitudinal bus line that travels through this collector, and it will link this train station and possibly an industrial site that's going to be located over here perhaps. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope to see you on the next one. Until then, take care.